One of the creepiest videos you can find on the internet is a perfect example of play stupid games and you'll win stupid prizes. It is also the perfect example of why you should not go to the Paris catacombs alone. Because not only is it illegal, it is very dangerous. Not only is it a massive labyrinth under the streets of Paris, but it's also home to the remains of over 6 million Parisians. I would also like to say that this...
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video drop. You guys are helping me grow the community. I appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers, man. Say it with me, y'all. Y'all know what we do. Let's seek the truth.
Times when jokes backfired big time. In 2006, the high-end water Fiji ran an ad campaign jokingly saying the label says Fiji because it's not bottled in Cleveland. Well, the city of Cleveland, Ohio saw this and were offended because what did they ever do to deserve this? So rightfully, the city of Cleveland tested their tap water and found that it was actually cleaner and tastier than Fiji water. Next, several years ago, a California man jokingly got a personalized license plate that read "No" and thought it would trick the database, so whenever he got a ticket, it would register as "No," meaning nothing. Well, the problem with that is, anytime there was an error on anyone else's license plate, they assigned it to him. He got $12,000 in fines.
Here's 5 things our parents lied to us about. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. This isn't true. The noise is caused by negative pressure temporarily pulling nitrogen gas into the joint. If you swallow gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years. This is not true. It will be excreted within a few days. Sitting too close to the TV will hurt your eyes. This is actually a very popular misconception. A long-term extensive study has shown that myopia in children has nothing to do with this. If you keep going cross-eyed, you'll get stuck like that forever. This is simply false. Your hair will grow faster the more often you cut it. This isn't true. There are a number of factors affecting it, such as age, hormones, and even the time of year.
So my whole childhood was a lie?
Did you know these facts? The Apollo 11 astronauts were not able to get life insurance, so instead they signed hundreds of autographs as their own insurance for their families in case of tragedy. The first business Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs created together was an illegal device to make long-distance calling easier by tricking the phone companies. All of the paint on the Eiffel Tower weighs the same amount as 10 elephants, and it gets repainted every 7 years without closing to the public. There's a company in Japan who was giving 6 extra vacation days a year to employees who didn't smoke, and it actually helped push a lot of the employees to stop smoking. Roughly 67% of the earth is under cloud cover at any given time. Ancient Babylonians did math in base 60 instead of base 10, which is why we have 60 seconds and 360 degrees for a circle. Ruth Brown was a 1950s R&B superstar that had to work low-paying jobs while she was famous because the record label was withholding her earnings.
Here is a quick list
Scummy.
of documentaries to watch for the month of January if you haven't already. First, we have The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, the final chapter. This documentary explores the controversy of Natalia's medical condition and adoption. Natalia was born with a rare dwarfism condition, and when she was adopted, they ended up abandoning her because they claimed that she lied about her age and she was manipulating them. Next, we have an update on our family. Vlogger couple Micah and James Stoffer made content based on their child who was adopted from China. He was on the autism spectrum but later gave him up. This scandal touches on the unregulated family vlogging industry. Next we have The Bunker. This documentary details Isabel Erickson's abduction by a doctor who she was going on a date with. Next thing she knows, she was being held captive in a cramped windowless room. In this 3-part series, Isabel talks about what she endured and how she escaped. Last but not least, we have Scamanta. This true crime documentary talks about blogger Laken Riley, who was pretending to be dealing with cancer. She deceived people and nearly collected $100,000 to allegedly help with her hospital bills.
The weirdest houses
Should
ever.
I check those out?
You really gotta love music to make your house look like this. I'm trying to think of how to describe this house. It looks like a bathroom. Does that make sense? Totally normal house except for the giant shark that crashed into the roof. This must be a ghost house. I don't know why, but I really don't like how it looks. Before I show you the best one, I just found a way to erase anything from your photos. Try it out by pressing the button on my profile, then press erase and edit like a pro. And finally, wait, is that Squidward? Interesting design choice.
Just a quick question: would any of you guys live in any of those houses? That would be a no from me. I don't think so. Especially that Squidward one, man. Creep me the hell out. I don't know what we go through those designers' ideas, man. Especially one house was just see-through. Like, what? That ain't a house. I don't know what you would call that. You know what this is, man.
Child marriage used to be legal in America, and the story of this marriage is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about. This is 9-year-old Eunice Winstead, and this is her legal husband at the time, Charlie Johns. So on January 19th, 1937, Eunice, who was 9 years old at the time, left her mother's house. On that morning, she told her parents that she was going out to buy herself a new doll. But instead, the 9-year-old was headed to the courthouse to meet her 22-year-old future husband, Charlie Johns. So at the time of this affair, there was no age limit on marriage in Tennessee. I mean, technically, someone could have married an adult and a baby if they paid off the minister and got everything to go through properly. And so on that day, 22-year-old Charlie offered a local Baptist preacher named Walter $1, which equates to around $21 today. And the preacher accepted the offer, came into the church, and married the 9-year-old to the 22-year-old. I mean, obviously, words cannot possibly describe how disturbing images like these are. Now, at first, both Charlie and Eunice's parents disapproved of the marriage, but after some thought, they eventually approved the marriage, and they just allowed them to live together and be married. Now, sadly, Eunice dropped out of school at the age of 9 after her husband, Charlie, pulled her out, and she began giving birth to their children at age 15. They'd eventually have 8 children together. I just cannot believe that shit like this used to happen in America. Comment your thoughts on this below.
A girl woke up
That's
bruised
insane.
every morning, so her parents set up a security camera, and what they found will shock you. A young girl was going to sleep every night and waking up the next morning with bruises all over her body. At first, this was only happening occasionally, and the bruises were so small that they were barely noticeable. But over time, the bruises seemed to get a lot worse and were happening way more frequently. Her parents ended up sending her to a special summer camp where she had to wear shorts every day. When the staff finally noticed the bruises on her leg, they did the right thing and reported it to the authorities. After the staff contacted her parents, they decided to make a doctor's appointment to get the bruises checked out. The doctors ran many tests but didn't end up finding anything, so they sent her and her parents on their way home. Feeling extremely frustrated, her parents set up a security camera in her room to find out what was going on. The next morning, her parents watched the footage and were shocked by what they saw. Hit the plus for part 2.
Damn, I gotta find that, bro. What the hell happened?
Crazy things happening in the world right now. After a woman took a DNA test for funsies, police used it to charge her grandmother with murder in a cold case. A woman divorced her husband in order to be with Brad Pitt, only to find out that it was an AI scam. A Philadelphia man who was awarded more than $4 million for an overturned murder conviction ended up pleading guilty in a case where he ended a man's life over $1,200. TSA stopped more than 6,000 weapons at airport security in 2024, and 94% of them were loaded. A Texas woman has set the record for donating more than 2,000 liters of her breast milk. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, has let the world know that Stevie Wonder demoed the Apple Vision Pro. A man disrupted a TV interview where a woman was speaking on her feelings of being uncomfortable in public places, and he refused to leave. The city of Bend, Oregon, recently ordered its citizens to stop putting googly eyes on statues.
Here's what would happen if you drank only water for 20 days. The first 2 days would be the worst. You feel incredibly hungry, your energy levels would drop, and your mood would be intolerable. In days 3 to 7, a process of ketosis would occur, in which your body breaks down fat it has stored, therefore making you lose weight. You'd also feel less hungry and more energetic, however, you would still get bad headaches and have bad night's sleep. In days 8 to 14, you would experience clarity of mind and you'd feel happy and energetic. Very few people reach days 15 to 20 of water fasting, so you'd feel very proud. You'd feel light and active, however, you'd be ready to eat some solid food again. Comment if you try water fasting.
Have any of you guys tried the water fast before? I haven't.
This Krampus or Krampus animatronic is one of the creepiest things I have ever seen. They sell it at Spirit Halloween during Halloween time, but also at Spirit Christmas, which I'm still trying to find one of those. Look how absolutely massive it is in comparison to a human. And there's even versions of it holding a little animatronic child that's like freaking out. I also would be freaking out around this thing. Absolutely not. The story of Krampus or Krampus, depending on how you pronounce it, comes from like Austria, Europe, Germany. Basically, it's to threaten bad little kids and saying like, oh, Krampus is gonna get you. He's supposed to be Saint Nick, Santa Claus, but also not. I'm still trying to figure that out. I've been doing a lot of research about him because honestly, he fascinates me. Also, the Krampus movie that came out a few years ago is honestly a really, really good movie, and you should probably watch it this holiday season if you like horror movies. But yeah, watch these videos of the animatronic in action and let me know how you're feeling, and if you would want this in your house for the low price of $350 US.
That ain't low price nowadays, baby. Damn, it kind of looks realistic. Like, imagine walking down the street seeing that. What would your reaction be? Yo, that was scared. That definitely some kids, man. That's pure nightmare fuel for them. You know what this is.
People who are 1 in a million. This is Gary Turner, but he's better known as the Elastic Man. He has a medical condition that causes his skin to be extremely stretchy.
Mr.
He can
Fantastic.
literally stretch the skin from his neck over his mouth. And this man came into the hospital with severe chest pain. And doctors were shocked when they discovered this man had 2 hearts. Next up, we have Paul Carrison, the real-life Papa Smurf. To fix his skin condition, he would drink silver and rub it on his skin every day, which caused him to turn irreversibly blue.
If you're scared of snakes,
Why would he
this
do that?
video will probably be your worst nightmare. This absolute unit of a snake is called the Titanoboa, and they existed over 60 million years ago. These things were slithering around at almost 50 feet long, and let me just put that into perspective for you. That would be like lining up 8 Shaquille O'Neals from head to toe, and we know that dude's massive. Now, God didn't want to make them too overpowered, so he didn't give them any venom, but he did give them the ability to be amazing swimmers and even faster than a racehorse when moving on land. Now, although the Titanoboa doesn't have any venom, it is a constrictor, so when it catches its prey, it crushes the absolute soul out of it. Its jaw then unhinges, allowing its mouth to open wide enough to consume a whole human, alligator, really anything else. You might be thinking, with all this power, how did this beast go extinct? Well, it's not because they skipped leg day. No. You see, when the Earth cooled down, they couldn't maintain their metabolism anymore and went extinct. You can thank God that they're not around today. Make sure you share this video with someone who hates snakes. Here's why you should always make sure you lock
Anaconda.
your doors. In 2007, a girl in California was living just beside the local prison. One night, as she was about to go to sleep, she heard the door open downstairs and assumed it was her roommate. So she looked down the stairs and said hi, with no response. She found it a bit odd, but then out of the shadow came this huge man that she did not recognize at all. Terrified, she quickly ran upstairs into her crawl space and tucked herself in there for a few hours. She could hear this man flipping furniture and running all around her house downstairs. After a few hours, when she opened up the crawl space and grabbed her phone off her nightstand table, she dialed 911 and described the intruder to the cops. When the cops heard this description, they said, go back into your crawl space and stay there. It turns out a 6'11" man from the prison next door had escaped and broken into her house.
Would you guys even would you guys even want to live next to a prison? No. I'm gonna do shit out, man. As soon as if I even found out I was next to prison, I ain't gonna lie, I'm out, man, because exactly what would happen if somebody breaks out, you're gonna be the first house man they're gonna go to. No, that ain't happening to me.
Here's some news that will give you hope. A United pilot bought 30 pizzas for everyone on his flight that was delayed for multiple hours and made sure that everyone had a slice before he had his own. A man who found himself on an empty airplane ended up taking a photo of himself in every single seat and photoshopping it together. A 25-year-old pizza delivery driver ran into a burning house to save 4 children who ended up telling him there might be one more inside. The moment after he jumped out of a window with the final child was caught on a body cam. Former billionaire Chuck Feeney donated his over $8 billion of net worth to charities and spent his remaining days in a rented apartment in San Francisco with no assets under his name. These photos show a before and after just 6 weeks after getting a liver transplant. A grocery store employee found $12,000 in a grocery cart in the parking lot and returned it to the owner of the money. Here's a video of a kind dog allowing a starving kitten to eat from his food.
Imagine opening the front door to someone's decapitated
There's goodness
head
everywhere.
on June 10th of
Just gotta find it.
2017, someone's decapitated head was found on the front steps of a White House in Jackson, Mississippi. Around 9:19 a.m., police were alerted, and one of the first officers who was at the scene recognized this as his own cousin, 30-year-old Jeremy Jerome Jackson. Later that day, around 4 p.m., Jeremy's burnt body was found less than a mile away from that home. Jeremy was one of 9 siblings, and he lived with his brother Johnny. He had 3 children and was a business management student. Just the day before Jeremy was seen alive, he had asked his brother Corey if he could give him a haircut and a ride into a job interview at a Mexican restaurant, and he was very excited when he got that job offer. Later that day, Jeremy was cutting the grass and told his brother Johnny that he was going to a friend's house but never returned. His brother stated that when Jeremy left to go to that friend's house, he didn't seem worried or paranoid like something was going to happen. He seemed perfectly fine. The house where Jeremy's head was found on the front steps had no connection with him or his family. It was picked at completely random. An autopsy was done and revealed that he had suffered a non-fatal gunshot wound to his leg, and when he was decapitated, he was still alive. One of Jeremy's brothers developed paranoia following his murder, and he felt like he was being watched, or maybe he was going to be the next victim since they had never found the killer. To this day, no one has found the person responsible for doing this to Jeremy.
2025 just got even crazier, part 7. Firstly, from an insider leak, the PlayStation 6 will most likely launch in late 2027. The fact that we're talking about the PlayStation 6 right now makes me feel super old. However, experts claim when the drop does happen, the PlayStation 6 will likely be within the $600 to $800 range. Next, New York City just achieved something that you probably weren't expecting, because for the first time in 30 years, the city went 5 days without a reported shooting victim. Unfortunately, just 4 minutes after they announced this, the streak was broken. Finally, by large numbers, Gen Z and millennials are choosing pets over children and say that having a baby is just too expensive, while at the same time, Gen Z is spending more on their pets than any other generation.
Abandoned dark rides frankly need to be illegal. This is an abandoned Stitch animatronic that was in Stitch's Great Escape, and yeah, it's still there. So Stitch's Great Escape was at Disney World, and it was so universally disliked as an attraction that they just completely closed it when COVID happened, and they just never opened it back up. Apparently there was a part where Stitch would burp, and there was like smell-o-vision that would go through, and you could smell Stitch's burp. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but apparently it smelled disgusting. So yeah, they closed it, and all of the animatronics are just de-skinned and rotting away, still in the building. This cute little alien in this tube now looks like Squirrel from Ice Age for some reason. This creepy robot looks like this. This is nightmare fuel. I'm going to show you a video of the ride when it was functioning, which wasn't really a ride, but the attraction when it was functioning. Just imagine it completely decommissioned and Stitch without skin and performing the way he does in this video. Nightmare fuel. To think that it's still in the building somewhere. Just tear it down already.
They want to save their money. I don't know why they don't take down their freaking abandoned parks. Imagine that de-skin, yeah, she's right. And if a kid sees that, it's nightmare fuel for them.
These animals look exactly like celebrities. This giraffe looks exactly like Miley Cyrus, and they even have the tongue out. And here's Nicki Minaj if she was a cat. Yep, that resembles Donald Trump perfectly. And this alpaca totally looks like Taylor Lautner. Mr. Bean totally looks like the owl. I mean, look at the eyes. Okay, these two are practically twins. And yep, that's William H. Macy if he was a dog.
Since we renamed by the water, bruh, look at India. Look at how small India is. This should be the African Ocean. That's all I gotta say.
Hello, my friend. Why is such a big ocean named after the Indian subcontinent? Well, I'd say it's because of the region's central position and major historical influence. India's location at the northern edge of the ocean, pushing out like a wedge, made it a crossroad for trade routes connecting Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Since ancient times, traders, sailors, and merchants relied on predictable monsoon winds to travel across the Indian Ocean. Historically, Indian ports were vital hubs where goods like spices, textiles, and gemstones were traded. Religions such as Hinduism and Buddhism also spread across the ocean from India to other regions, influencing cultures far beyond its shores. Now, the subcontinent's dominance in trade and religion helped define the identity of the Indian Ocean as a connected world of commerce and shared ideas. The name Indian Ocean became common as European explorers in the 16th century recognized the influence India had over the region's economy and history.
I think that's came from, you know, Trump's name in the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. I don't know. I really figure textbooks probably gonna have to be changed, man, all across America now because of the name change. What do you guys think about that? Just changing that names, there could be more coming. I don't know.
These are some facts that could save your life one day. If you've been stabbed or punctured by a sharp object, your immediate thought's probably going to be, I need to get this out of my body right now. But unfortunately, that's the last thing you want to do. When you get stabbed by an object, it actually is used as a plug to stop the bleeding from happening. And if you take it out, you're going to start pouring blood everywhere. You're going to lose more blood in your back. This is a pretty simple one that I've talked about before, but if you ever are at the beach and you hear a roaring sound, the ground starts to shake, or you notice the water starting to recede from the shore very quickly and a lot farther than normal, run for your life to high ground. This is because these are all the telltale signs that a tsunami is headed directly for you. And yeah, you're just not going to make it out of that if you stay on the beach. And this is perhaps the most important one that I have. If you're ever traveling abroad and you're not in your home country, most places, especially over in Europe, you can use your phone and dial 112. This will automatically connect you to the nearest emergency service and they'll get you the help that you need. Also, even if you don't have phone service, you can dial 911 in America and it will still contact you through to a dispatcher. Look, I'm just trying to help you out over here today, alright? And that's why...
Here are people who are one in a million. Up first, we have Jalisha Nightingale. This Bajan model has intriguing icy blue eyes. It's a condition called sectoral hediachromia. It causes the iris of the eye to be multicolored. Next up, we have Steph Sinyade. This YouTuber got a ton of attention when she posted a video explaining her condition. She has a genetic mutation called Waardenburg syndrome. It means the bone structure in her face is very unique. It's also the reason for her crystal blue eyes and why they're set further than the average person. It also caused her to be deaf in her left ear. It can also cause problems with pigmentation, which explains why she has a white piece of hair.
Oh no, help, I'm kidnapped, help, help. Oh my god, ew, are you kidding me? This is such an ugly color. Yeah, pink. Ew, I don't like the shade of pink. This is wild pink. I want champagne pink. I'm literally gonna die if someone sees me wearing this shade of pink. So embarrassing. We're so hot. I think we're soulmates. Well, can rest in peace. I know I've never said this in my life, but thank you for letting me go. Wow, can't live, can't die. What can I do?
Really?
This is really cheap quality. Seriously, you're damaging the collagen. My $200 wrist cream gone to waste. Great, great! No matter how many people you kidnap, you will never have taste. Please. Excuse me for the drama. There could be a camera here. What if this is my day of getting discovered? Oh my god, my acting came. Help! Are you like in love with me? Everyone is in love with me. I'm so mysterious and unique. There's nobody like me. Stop lying to yourself. You kidnapped me because I'm special. That's hot. Oh, baby, you've been through so much, my sweet baby angel. Please don't cry. Mommy's here for you, baby. Oh, you have a mother wound. Mommy will give your mommy a spanking for being a bad mommy. Are you kidding me? You didn't do this properly. Okay, listen up. You gotta tie the legs as well, like this. And then you do the wrists, like this. Is it clear? And then the last step is the mouth. You gotta cover the mouth. Are you kidding me? I wanna get caught, do you? But you try. This is like really boring. Trust me, when I'm bored, I make it everyone's problem. Last warning! You asked for it! Ha! You might kidnap me! Shut up and put it in your mouth. Shh!
What the
Make it a little tighter. Gotta do everything myself? Can you tie my legs too?
Oh no, he liked this. What the heck?
We're going on an adventure! Gasolina! Na gaso! Kidnapping. Hell yeah, dude! Na gaso! Keep it on. There's some hoes in the house. I'll be running away. Mickey Mouse is Sagittarius. I just want to talk. At least make it fun for me. I'm the one getting kidnapped. I'm the victim. All I want to do is just talk. I feel like you're misunderstood just like me. I feel like we can be best friends. What's your sign? Yeah, you shouldn't judge someone based on their sign. I feel like if I tell you my sign, you're gonna let me go and you're not gonna want to be my friend anymore. Gemini, you letting me go?
Really?
You wanna be friends with me? Do you at least like wanna get coffee? How does everyone react that way when we told it on the Gemini meeting?
This is a true horrifying story. Part 88. I will tell you about a place I recently discovered that may possibly be the most haunted place on this planet. The Bhangarh Fort.
Talk about it.
A 16th century fort built in the Rajasthan state of India. Madho Singh, an old ruler of the kingdom of Jaipur, lived in this fort. And it was built exactly 452 years ago. Back in the day, there was a high volume of dark rituals and many black magic practices done by the royals and the people around them. And in the fort, they have casted permanent spells within its walls. There also were wars inside and outside the Bhangarh Fort, and many people have died. Because of this place's history, many people are keen to visit this place, and you are allowed to visit. If you're a foreigner, you will not be allowed in without a government permit. If you're Indian, you can enter, but only when the sun is up. Warning boards all around the site issued by the ASI, constantly urging visitors to leave the premises before sunset, to strictly leave before the sun goes down. The state's government forbids anyone staying in the Bhangarh Fort at night because of the thousands of many incidents that happened that no one can explain. Everyone who stayed there after sundown has never returned, ever. Hundreds of people who claimed to be journalists laughed at this so-called tale and stayed the night in this place. They have all gone missing. No trail, no noises, and not even a body to be found. I genuinely thought that this couldn't possibly be real, but then after doing a lot of digging, I discovered that early state officials have apparently cleansed the place from its spells and curses. And it took them a while, and maybe that's why recently not many have gone missing. And people online claim that they were able to stay the night, but people miss the point. We're all very aware that the Bhangarh Fort is infested with jinns. And historically, in this fort, the jinns used to take the people away who stayed the night to an unknown place where they will never return. But today, they may not haunt you inside the fort, but they will definitely haunt you outside. In 2021, 3 daredevils decided to ignore the warnings and spent a night there with their torches and firewood. One of them was walking and injured himself. They all left to rush him to the hospital, but all 3 of them died in a car crash as soon as they left. Coincidence? Another story related to the Bhangarh Fort that happened in 2023 was a woman and her boyfriend decided to stay the night. They left and seemed to be all right, but the next day, they were both found unconscious, and they are currently in a coma state to this day from a very severe brain stroke. These strange stories happen all the time from that place, but they keep them hidden from the public. Other people from India that are not from this area may tell you that these stories are just tales, but not the locals. The locals have seen it all. They know what happens inside there. The jinns in Bhangarh Fort are no jinns to be messed with. Only the power of God can save.
Seek the truth.
What this butcher did to fat people was pure evil. In 1965, in the small town of Millfield, Ohio, there was a butcher named Harold Graves. He owned the only butcher shop in town and was polite but strange. Then, people started disappearing. Only larger people. The town got scared, but no one could prove it was Harold. Rumors spread. Some said he stared too long at heavyset customers. Others said he worked late at night, and strange noises came from his shop. One night, a boy named Lil Billy sneaked into Harold's shop. He never came out. The police searched the shop and found freezers filled with packages. At first, they thought it was just meat, but it wasn't. It was human remains. Harold was arrested. He said he wasn't killing out of hate. I make them lighter, he said. But the twist came when they looked into his past. Harold had no records, no family, and no history before coming to Millfield. In his basement, they found old tools and aprons that were over 100 years old. No one could explain it. Some believed Harold had been there for generations. Others thought he wasn't human. The butcher shop is still boarded up, and some say if you stand outside at night, you can still hear knives sharpening.
That's why I stay away from butchers.
Yo, whoa, where you go? Run! Go. What the hell?
Oh, he left her behind.
I did. Oh my gosh. He's going to the basement.
You gotta lock it. You gotta lock it now. Oh shit! Oh my god! There we go! What do you want with us?
That's just a high skinwalker edit? Or do you think there was some validity to that clip we just seen? My man hit the jets. He left her behind, bro. He said, I ain't getting caught today. We at this abandoned hospital. Leaving biohazard chemicals around. Companies just love leaving chemicals around, bro. Unless they want to accept, when they dump it in the ocean. That seems to be the only way they can get rid of their toxic chemicals. That's just a shame. Was that the Boondocks or did it say the Doondocks? I know I'm not tripping.
There was this man named Jim. Now, Jim grew up in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina. And he said he was the oldest of 5 brothers and sisters. And they lived in this older home situated in the middle of the woods, surrounded by the mountains. Now, he said this one particular night, his father put him in charge of watching his brothers and sisters. And so his father left and several hours had passed. Him and his brothers and sisters, they were playing a game of tag, running around the house. When all of a sudden, they hear the doorbell ring. So they all go up to the front door. They look out the window. There's nobody out there. So they're like, who was that? So they go back to playing. And after about 15-20 minutes, once again, they hear the doorbell. They go and look out the window. There's no one there. So they go back to playing again, and once again, the doorbell rings. So this time, Jim goes to the door, and he opens it, and he goes, "Quit playing around." he looks out there, and there is like absolutely no one.
Ding dong ditch.
And he said he just remembered, like, all of a sudden, this very bad stench just poured into the house, and he said it almost made him gag. And he thought, you know, that's really weird, like there's no one there. So he closes the door, and they all go into the living room. Well, his brother goes into the kitchen and is in there for about 5 minutes when all of a sudden he comes running out, screaming, crying, and he runs right into his bedroom and jumps on the bed. So Jim goes to check on him and see what's wrong. And when he gets in his brother's room, he can see that, like, he's very frantic and just, you know, upset by something. So Jim sits down on his bed and is like, you know, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you crying? And he couldn't get his little brother to talk about, like, what was going on. He said finally his brother, after about 5-10 minutes, says, I was in the kitchen and I looked out the window. There was this big, tall, hairy monster, and it was waving at me to come outside.
Bigfoot?
And right as he's telling him that story, Jim said he looked out his brother's window and he sees the shadow of something very large just move. And so he tells his brother, like, get out of the room, and he gets his brothers and sisters and he puts them all into the parents' room. But he said right at that moment they could hear stuff like running around the house, and they could hear all this noise outside and banging on the windows and the doors. And he said then it stopped. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, he said he hears this frantic banging on the front door. So Jim gets up the courage, he goes to his father's office, and he grabs his rifle.
Big bro
He
cop.
goes to the door, and when he looks out the window, he sees that it's his neighbor. So he opens the door, and the neighbor comes running in and is all frantic. And is like, where are the kids? Where's everybody? Like, are you guys all right? I'm staying with you till your dad gets back. And Jim was kind of confused, like, why is the neighbor here? Why is he panicking? Well, shortly after this, his father comes home, and his father and the neighbor go into the other room. Jim overhears them talking, and the neighbor is basically saying to the father, like, I was looking out my window when I seen like several large-looking men that weren't human running around your house, and I knew the kids were alone, so I ran over there immediately, and one of these things, whatever it was, it chased me. So Jim's father and the neighbor, they get some rifles and they go outside. They tell the kids to lock themselves in the bedroom. And he said all night long they could hear just, you know, loud bangs and booms, you know, and shots being fired. And he said the next morning his father came in, had this blank stare on his face, and just slowly shuffled onto the couch. And he asked his father, you know, like, what was that last night? Like, what happened? And his dad looked at him and said, I never want to speak about what I seen out there. And he said still to this day, he has no clue what it is that his father seen or what they experienced that night.
Got shell shock. No, it ain't.
Prove it? Prove it? Yeah, prove it. What do you mean, prove it? I don't know. I've been face down in a ditch for 2 hours. I'm trying to save your buddy, okay? I don't think there's much left I have to prove. Okay, well, if you could come help, that'd be nice. Okay, I don't know where this thing is or when it's gonna...
off in the dark?
That has a biologically impossible characteristic. Run away and hide.
What's she packing for? Oh, she senses. Could have been like a wind current or something.
See, I fucking do. No.
Right move. Hit the jets. You know how kids can, you know, be playful, but looks like a spirit was like pulling the phone. I don't know. Abandoned hospital, creepy vibes. Not for me. These creepy clowns. I still remember that trend, man, when it was big on YouTube.
One of the creepiest videos you can find on the internet is a perfect example of play stupid games and you'll win stupid prizes. It is also the perfect example of why you should not go to the Paris catacombs alone. Because not only is it illegal, it is very dangerous. Not only is it a massive labyrinth under the streets of Paris, but it's also home to the remains of over 6 million Parisians. I would also like to say that this footage probably heavily inspired the movie As Above, So Below, which, if you haven't seen this underrated found footage gem of a horror film, I highly recommend doing so. Now, years ago, when the station was still called ABC Family, they aired a special about the Paris catacombs. The special was specifically about this camcorder that was found and apparently taken in the early 90s. And on that footage, you could find the POV of a man going through the Paris catacombs. You can also see the things that he finds along the way, including bones. Now, as the footage continues, you can tell that the man is becoming more and more paranoid, turning from an urban explorer's dream to an outright nightmare. He gets completely paranoid and freaked out to the point where he starts sprinting down the catacombs aimlessly, and then eventually just drops the camera and runs away, leaving this image as the very final shot of the camcorder. Now, of course, the question is, what exactly happened? Or if this video is even real. I'll tell you right now, if the footage is real, I would be reacting the same exact way. Because even with the lights on, I can already see myself getting lost in something like this. Especially if I was running 300 feet below the street level of Paris in a catacomb of bones. But if that does actually interest you, you can explore the catacombs with a guided tour, going into the right areas that are allowed to the public. Which hopefully one day I get to do, because I've always wanted to actually do this. However, unfortunately for the man recording this footage, he was never seen again. And to this day, nobody's come out and outright claimed that they filmed this footage, whether it had been fake or real. What do you guys think? Would you ever explore the Paris catacombs?
Not for me. I don't think so. All those spirits, all those souls down there? No! Should put it surround on phone. Oh, she said burn the sage. Get that bad energy away from me.
à 3000. Écoutez mon cœur. Les gars, vous entendez mon cœur?
Some hunter?
C'est quoi ça?
The hell was that? It seemed like a floating face. But it was scary. I'm about to confront whatever that is. I think this is, yeah, this is just like a high quality, I think, horror edit. It was right there. The what? Oh, he had to take that elbow. I don't know what he was doing. It was right there, and he froze. Bad in the water park slide. Looks like you can see something standing in the distance. How do these people even get access to it? They just break in. Oh, what the? Oh no. Hit the jets. Oh, what's that thing right there? Looks like it's trying to climb back. Oh no, it's trying to get. They still trying to play games. I'm gone, bro. Playtime over. Whoa. Mass panic? What the hell? Yeah, people running. They throw the rock at. I'm a different. That's like a man surfing on a, it looks like on a cloud. But could that be cover? It's like it's trying to cover up something. That's my first time seeing something like that, man. It's mind blowing, bro. And the clouds too. It's like a sign.
This evil man was the real-life Mr. Krabs, and it's purely horrifying. In the 1960s in Ohio, the small town of Willow Creek was known for one thing: Jack's Burger Shop. Jack, the owner, was a cheerful man who always greeted customers with a big smile. His burgers were famous, and people traveled miles just to eat them. But around the same time, people started disappearing. It was mostly travelers or strangers passing through town, so no one thought much of it. Jack even joked with his customers, "Careful, or you'll end up on the grill." Everyone laughed, thinking it was just a joke. One night, a young man named Phil Your Anus was walking past the diner and saw Jack loading something heavy into his van. It looked like a body wrapped in a bloody sheet. Tommy followed Jack to the woods and watched him bury it. The next day, Phil broke into the diner after hours. In the freezer, he found strange packages labeled special meat. When he opened one, he froze in horror. It wasn't beef, it was human meat. Jack caught him and smiled. Now you know my secret, he said, holding a butcher knife. Phil escaped and told the town, but no one believed him. Jack cleaned up the diner, and the evidence disappeared. The townsfolk kept eating the burgers, saying, Jack's burgers are just too good to quit. To this day, people wonder, were Jack's burgers really made from people, or was it just a wild story? Either way, Jack's smile always seemed just a little too wide.
Scary story. That's that cursed doll, Annabelle. Movement. What the hell? I don't do dolls, y'all. What's scaring the dog? What happened in a reflection? That's Pope Francis. Who knows what's going behind the scenes there, man. Given that title, supposed to be like a holy man. That looked like somebody else at the end. Keep going. What the f- Lazy 10. I know y'all been seeing, man, if we can discourse on Twitter. They've been like, who will win Spartacus or Homelander? I would need y'all to tell me your predictions down below. But that's an OG show if y'all remember Lazy Town. Was he really doing that? What the f- Oh, he's supposed to have like a stuntman or something?
Zombie movies, so here are 3 zombie films that you need to see if you haven't seen them yet. The Resort was released in 2015. This one used to bounce around on streaming services, but now you do have to rent it. After a zombie apocalypse, a resort offers guests the opportunity to stay on their island and shoot zombies from a safe distance. The Resort is not perfect, but it is not bad, and I find this one really enjoyable. Pontypool was released in 2008 and currently stream this one on AMC+. It's Valentine's Day in Canada, and Grant Mousey heads to his radio show host job to start his normal night. He keeps getting told that there is some kind of virus outbreak happening, and he has to tell his viewers how to keep safe while keeping safe himself. Pontypool is a really great movie, and if you haven't seen it, it's a super original take on a zombie film. Last on the list today is from 2019. It's called Little Monsters, and you can currently stream this one on Hulu. Typically, I don't recommend a comedy on my page, but this one is just too good to pass up. A group of kids are on a field trip and a zombie outbreak happens right then, right there, and a teacher has no choice but to keep her students safe. Little Monsters is great. I actually really like this one as a comedy film. Anyways, if you're new here, my name is Michaela. I love horror films, so make sure you're following me so you don't miss out on another movie recommendation.
Anybody seen those? Because you guys know I don't do scary movies. What happened to its arms? It's just about to spawn everywhere now. Notice. I hate when that happens.
If you see a person that has a biologically impossible characteristic, run away and hide.
You don't need to tell me that twice. I'm gone. She went over there to look. Wrong move.
The show! Not a show! Oh no, babe! What is that? That is so scary! No! What is that?
What is that?
Oh no!
2 moons, a full moon and a half? Glitching out at the end, man. How many of these things is this man gonna encounter? Is he like stuck in between two of them? It's like pick your poison. I'm going with the other one, man. I think I can take it, bro. We're gonna have to throw the news, man, and that's what we want to do.
Did you see that thing?
Who's that?
That's why. I don't know.
Hello?
Who are you? Are you like the owner or something?
Hello?
Don't worry, we were gonna pay. Why are you just standing there like that?
Did you say something?
Michelle, hurry the hell up so we can get the hell out of here, please.
I'm doing it. What?
What the hell?
What is that?
His eyes.
Okay.
His eyes.
Okay,
Michelle,
I'm wrapping it up. I'm wrapping it up.
Like, seriously? Put the money and let's get the hell out of here. Now, hurry, hurry.
I got it. Stay here.
What?
Okay, hopefully they're happy.
Michelle, it's gone. No, I don't have a good feeling about this. The man had red glowing eyes.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Get in the car and
Your phone when you sit on the toilet. A 24-year-old man from China became paralyzed from sitting on the toilet for too long. He was watching videos on his phone while he sat on the toilet until his family became concerned as to why he was taking so long in there. After 30 minutes, someone came in to check on him and found him on the floor unconscious, and he was rushed to the hospital. At this point, he was already paralyzed. The doctor said that he was in the same sitting position for a long time, which limited his blood circulation in his body. Also, the air circulation in the bathroom wasn't the greatest due to the enclosed space, so when he suddenly stood up, the lack of oxygen to his brain caused him to pass out. But this isn't the first time something like this happened. Another man in China had to be rushed to the hospital when he noticed a ball-sized lump fall out of his anus while he sat on the toilet. It turns out that was his rectum, which was caused by the fact that he sat on the toilet for too long. So doctors have said that when you don't focus on doing number 2, this can lead to constipation, which causes strain and pressure down there. So moral of the story, let's start leaving our phones outside the bathroom.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys. That's a warning sign, man. Don't use your phone in the bathroom, man. We all been guilty of it, including me, but I update my life with these facts, so we won't be doing that anymore.
Things happening in the world right now. Champagne sales are down 15% in 2024, and multiple champagne executives have said that people are just not celebrating as much. This dog went in for a teeth cleaning and was spayed instead. These astronauts were only supposed to be in space for 8 days and now have to stay in space until next year because of new safety concerns. A new study came out and said that when Barbie learned what a gynecologist was, millions of other people did as well. It was recently revealed that this US woman who was tied to a tree in the middle of the forest in India tied herself to it. New research is suggesting that mayonnaise may help us develop perfect nuclear fusion. Remote work is to blame for Google's struggles with AI, according to the former CEO. This man was given 40 sausage rolls for 40 years of service at his job. This woman in her 70s was fired from Home Depot after failing to stop a customer from using a suspicious card to spend over $5,000 in fraudulent charges.
Weird Nature
How's she gonna stop that?
Part 26. The Blue American Rabbit was developed in 1917 by Louis H. Salisbury. Although it's natural, he never revealed what breeds he used to create this variety. In 1998, Honduras built a bridge over the Choluteca River, but the water was rerouted by Hurricane Mitch that same year. This mutated octopus with 85 tentacles was captured on an island near Japan. Known for its protrusible jaw and nail-like teeth, the goblin shark has only been seen about 50 times since its discovery in 1897. In 1493, Christopher Columbus mistook manatees for mermaids and wrote, "They're not so beautiful as they're said to be, since their faces have some masculine traits."
Simple psychological tricks that actually work. If you want someone to give you more information, try staying silent after they answer your question. The awkward silence will force them to continue talking. If you think someone's staring at you but you can't catch them, try yawning. If they also yawn, they've been probably staring at you the whole time. If you're in a conflict with a significant other, try using food to diffuse the situation. Have you ever been mad while eating a pizza? Follow me for more.
No, I haven't.
First songs you should never listen to. Barney's I Love You song.
I love you, you love me.
Yeah, this is a cursed one. This song can actually send you mad. It has a sick and disturbing past. It's the most overplayed song used by the CIA to torment prisoners. And music used for torture is a pretty interesting psychological concept, and this song makes it pretty easy.
This is why you
Whoa.
should really monitor your child when they're online, especially when they're using websites like Roblox. On October 17th of this month, the Sheriff's Department had received a phone call about a 2-month-old baby who had been dropped on the ground and was suffering serious injuries by their 10-year-old sibling. The one who made this phone call was Gulf Coast Kids House, and they do forensic interviews and medical examinations of children who are suspected of abuse. When the 10-year-old was having the forensic interview, she described that she dropped the baby on the floor at the direction of someone that she met online, and she was actually very terrified of this person, and she felt like if she didn't follow the instructions of this person, that person was going to come after her. It was revealed that the person that was communicating with this 10-year-old was 36-year-old Tara Alexis Sykes, and they were communicating on Roblox. Tara was giving the 10-year-old various methods on how to harm this baby, including drowning the baby, putting the baby in boiling water, and dropping the baby on the ground. Tara also gave instructions to the 10-year-old on how to unalive the adults in the house by cutting their throats. She then told the 10-year-old to douse the sheets with aerosol spray and set the adults on fire. The 10-year-old allegedly set out some of the instructions. For example, she dropped the baby on the floor and she doused the sheets, but she was unable to set the adults on fire. Tara was arrested and charged with attempted murder and is being held without bond. It was revealed in court documents that Tara is actually related to the 10-year-old girl, but they did not reveal on what kind of relation. Thankfully, the 2-month-old is expected to survive, and the police did not announce any charges against the 10-year-old.
What do you think about that case, man? It's like, bro, there's weirdos everywhere, and I ain't have to watch, especially online on Roblox, man. It's just so much access to kids, bro. Any weirdos can get into it now, make them do things that they're not supposed to do. You gotta be more vigilant. How sad it. You see through that.
The longest things in the world. Longest English word. Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Longest YouTube video, 596 hours. Longest song, Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova, 13 hours long. Longest film, Logistics, over 35 days long. Longest day of 2021, Monday the 21st of June.
This case makes no sense, and the internet is pleading officers to look into the case further. This is the young teen that sadly lost her life after being locked in a Walmart oven. Walmart employees started posting on social media why her death was suspicious. This employee shows how hard it is for someone to accidentally lock themselves in an oven. Check it out.
These ovens are so hard to shut. From the outside, you have to push them. I'll show you. See that?
Ooh.
So you swing it open too hard when you get something out of the oven. Let's see what happens.
Whereas this talker showed how the door doesn't lock on itself. So someone had to be on the outside that latched it.
It closed by itself. It doesn't. It doesn't latch.
Oh.
It's designed not to do that.
So let's say she did get in the oven somehow, she would be able to get back out. Apparently some of the ovens also have like emergency shutoffs from the inside in case this does happen. So it seems like someone was on the outside that locked her in it. Because even if the door swung closed behind her, it wouldn't have been able to latch itself. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. How do you feel about this case?
I think somebody definitely pushed that door.
Literally makes you prettier. My name is Angel, and I've been studying in the field of psychotherapy the past 7 years, as well as being a makeup TikToker. And guess what? I just got out of a lash appointment because I cried all of my lashes off this month. And am I mad at myself? Not one bit, because psychologically, crying is a sign that you're healing, not a sign that you're broken or weak. Why? Because your body is designed with something called lacrimal glands. Lacrimal glands are activated when you cry. When your lacrimal glands are activated, your body immediately goes from a state of fight or flight to rest and digest. Your body and your brain are literally threatened when you're in a state of fight or flight, but when you're in a state of rest and digest, you are healing. Your brain becomes prettier and healthier when you feel your emotions deeply. Don't feel wrong for crying. You're actually going in the right direction.
What if I told you that
Good
your parent
advice.
was a secret spy that was sent by the government? I know this sounds absolutely insane, but hear me out. In the 1960s, there was a CIA program called Operation Acoustic. The goal was to quite literally use cats as spies. The idea was they would implant these transmitter devices in the cat. They would eavesdrop on Soviet Union conversations. The CIA believed that cats blended in more than other animals, and that they could easily be trained to approach targets and transmit audio. This project cost $20 million, and the first spy cat was hit by a taxi. Rest in peace. In order to do this, the CIA implanted the radio transmitter into the base of the cat's skull, and so a microphone into its ear canal and embedded an antenna into the tail of the cat. Here's an x-ray photo for reference. This is like a literal monstrosity. Like, they're literally ripping apart these animals and like putting an antenna in their tail. And the way that they were gonna control the cats is by using audio cues. Thankfully, there were a lot of complications with this like operation, and they ended up closing the project in 1967. It feels so bad for these little kitties. Follow for more.
Psychology hacks to read anybody
Insane.
like a book. When he agrees with you, but he's shaking his head, he's definitely lying to you. When somebody sits back in their chair, they're showing that they're tired of the conversation. When they're rubbing their hands together, it means they have a positive feeling about something. Follow me for more.
Okay, we know where that be came from. Slice Adams. That thing, bro, about the cats was insane, man. What is it with the CIA, man, and trying to make animals into spies? I just don't think it can work.
Facts about Earth that will make you question everything. The ocean contains about $770 trillion worth of gold, which is enough money to build your own ocean in your backyard. The hottest place on Earth is Death Valley, California, and it's reached temperatures as high as 134 degrees Fahrenheit. And while we're on the subject of temperature, Antarctica can reach 60 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. And this is the Kitti's hognose bat, which is the smallest mammal on Earth.
This is the smallest prisoner in the world, and you will not believe what this guy actually did. Back in 2015, a group of kids were left home alone after the mother and father went out to get some pizza, when the young boy put his baby sister in the oven. Now, you've probably seen these videos about this story all over social media. Now, although some of the information in these videos is completely fake, the majority of this story is actually 100% true. So the kids were left home while their parents went out, and they decided to put the baby sister, who was like 18 months old, in the oven. Reportedly, one of them opened the door and shoved her in there, while the other one turned the heat and made it hot. Reportedly, when the parents came home, smelled some sort of cooking, and it wasn't good. Now, the kids had been playing around and playing a game. They didn't know what the oven was, so it was meant to be a prank and a game between them with no parental supervision there. It went very, very wrong. Now, the parents were actually charged because of this, and the kids, of course, were far too young to even be investigated, really. And both the parents were actually charged with 2 counts of endangering a child and murder.
Do you know why Michael Jackson's skin became so white? Michael had a medium brown skin tone as a kid and teenager, but in 1983, when Michael was 24 years old, his skin started to change colors and it was scary. Random spots appeared on his skin and they gradually lost their pigment. In 1986, Michael's doctor informed him that he was suffering from a skin disorder called vitiligo. Vitiligo gives people white patches on their skin and makes them sensitive to sunlight. This is why Michael often walked under umbrella and wore hats that shaded his face. Apart from vitiligo, Michael Jackson also struggled with lupus, which is another kind of disease where the immune system mistakenly attacks its own tissues. To treat his conditions, Michael used skin creams and makeup to hide uneven color patches on his skin, but many people criticized Michael and said he was trying to become white, but Michael had his own reasons, and he explained them.
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. Is something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
Facts that I wish.
Never knew that. I mean, you know, people, they have their theories, man, about, you know, Michael Jackson, I guess, becoming another person because I didn't know, like you say, he had a skin disorder. Hey, man, we all gotta do our facts. We all gotta do our research, bro. That's interesting.
Wish I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to, like, stuff it back in.
Yeah. I never knew that.
Ridiculous facts that will make you laugh. A woman earlier this year brought a baby hedgehog to a wildlife hospital thinking that it was hers, but in reality it was actually just a baby. Queen Elizabeth one time actually accepted an invite to a random wedding that invited her. In the 1980s, an army supply clerk accidentally ordered a $28,000 anchor instead of a $6 lamp because of a mistype in an order number.
What?
There was a rumor that Stephen Hawking would deliberately run over people's toes that he didn't like. He denied the rumor by stating that it was malicious and that he would run over anybody's toes that spread it. Animal Planet aired a fake documentary about mermaids that made thousands of people convinced that they were real. Twice. And it wasn't even on April Fool's Day. It was in May 2012 and May 2013. It was the most watched telecast on Animal Planet since Steve Irwin's Memorial 6 years before. This teenager's art was not discovered by his parents for multiple years until they looked at their house on Google Earth.
What the? Why would he put that on top of the house, bro? I even did it. Slap the mess out of me, bro. What the hell?
Are your toys alive?
What did I just walk into?
Would you have a robot
Edit.
made? New fear unlocked.
It's too realistic.
Gotta be careful here. Well, that puts an end to my tarpon fishing. Wow.
You're a brave soul.
Get back.
This is a war game about...
That's exactly what I would have did, Seekers. I'm especially was that alligator crocodile? It don't matter. I'm hitting it just as soon as I see something come out that water, bro. Like I said, we was the brave still even standing there, man. I would have been gone.
Now trying to survive your sleep paralysis demon. Let's talk about a horror game called Silent Still. The entire point of this game is that it's trying to recreate the feeling of having sleep paralysis. And while your character can walk around during the day, at nighttime when you go to sleep, you cannot move. You are completely frozen. All you can do is look around your room while your sleep paralysis demon walks about. It basically tries to recreate that feeling of helplessness. One of the interesting parts about this game, though, is that it actually tries to tell a story. During this time, your character is discovering that they have sleep paralysis, and they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. There are 3 nights, 3 sleep paralysis sessions that you have to get through in this game, and a few of them scared the absolute hell out of me. I don't want to spoil anything, especially because the last night takes the game in a completely different direction than I was expecting, but I do have a full playthrough of this game on my channel. I hope you know that you have a lot to be proud of about yourself, and I'm proud of you simply for the fact that you haven't given up.
All the horror news that you probably missed.
I have to check that out.
This found footage movie series just announced a new installment. We'll be getting Hell House Lineage, and it's supposedly the last but scariest Hell House movie. Hell House Lineage will take place right after Hell House Origins, the Carmichael Manor. So watch this one if you want to be all caught up in time for the new movie. If you're a fan of Hill House, Midnight Mass, or Fall of the House of Usher, then you probably know that Mike Flanagan is now making shows for Prime Video. And his next project is an 8-episode miniseries based on Carrie by Stephen King. I'm a fan of literally all of Mike Flanagan's Stephen King movies, so here's some bonus recommendations. I already know that Carrie is going to be amazing. Creep is one of the best found footage horror movies on Netflix, so I'm very excited for the Creep Tapes, which will be a found footage TV series, where every episode is another one of Peach Fuzz's previous victims that we haven't seen before. Longlegs, Saw, and Stephen King is a match made in hell, and I am so here for it. Because the director of Longlegs, Osgood Perkins, will be directing The Monkey, based on a short story by Stephen King and produced by James Wan. Neon actually sent me a sneak peek of a kill scene from this movie. Even though I definitely can't show it on here, I will say that it got me so excited to see the rest of the movie. This one is going to be a bloody good time. In a Violent Nature went super viral all over social media when it first came out. And one of the cast members just announced that there will be a sequel in A Violent Nature too. Hopefully it'll have even crazier kills than the first one, but I have no idea how they're going to top this scene. And that's...
This photo is of the most dangerous man on Earth, the Cincinnati Crawler. This actual photo was captured by the family back in 1974 after this man entered their house. and escaping shortly after the photo was taken. So in 1974, the Johnson family lived in Cincinnati. It was a quiet neighborhood, they had a nice house in the middle of the countryside, not much went on here, until they started noticing very strange things happening. Their 14-year-old daughter would regularly say that she would see these eyes outside of her window at night, peering in, staring at her. And with most nights the sounds of banging and footsteps, which they thought was just rats or some kind of pipes. Till one night, their youngest son was laying in bed, ready to go to sleep. The family dog would regularly come in to sleep with the young boy and just stay on his bed, but he felt the dog jump up onto his bed slowly and went to pet it. But it wasn't the dog. That was when he spotted this guy at the end of his bed, just standing there. After everybody had spotted him, the man ran out of the house and has still never been found. Though reportedly 4 other young children had gone missing in this area at the same time in the 70s, which police believe he could have been responsible for. On top of this, in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of human experiments going on in the exact same place.
Psychology hacks to read anybody like a book. If somebody is closing their eyes when talking to you, they're probably hiding something. When a person covers their mouth, it means that they don't want to say what they're thinking. When a person is rubbing their chin, they're trying to make a decision. Follow me for more.
That's just ain't facts, man. I always write those down. Those psychology facts, man. You can analyze a person by learning those, I guess, traits that people be doing when they're talking to you. I wasn't at it. Oh, what the hell?
Yes, you saw that right. The moon was just hit by a giant meteor and exploded. We have at least 24 hours to prepare before fragments of the moon reach Earth. Expect massive meteor showers and some pieces big enough to take out entire cities. Media is reporting that without the moon's gravity, our oceans are about to be unpredictably wild. Tsunamis will strike coastal lines around the world, and if you live near a coastline, get you and your family to higher ground as soon as possible. They are also saying the Earth's tilt and rotation will start to wobble. This means insane, unpredictable weather and extreme storms that can cause chaos. You need to stay inside and safe, because now that people think the world is ending, there will be riots, loots, and people just not listening to the law at all. Things are about to get very scary, very fast. I'm not gonna lie, bro, we just all gotta stick together right now. Take care of your family, and take care of each other, man. I don't know what to do. Please share this video, because this was just a prank, it's creepypasta, and you can really scare your friends with this.
Crazy things happening in the world right now.
I knew that was an
Zoom,
edit.
the app widely used for remote work, is telling its employees that they need to come back to the office.
What?
For Mental Health Awareness Week, McDonald's changed their Happy Meal to just the meal. The Red Lobster found a rare orange lobster in their batch and decided to donate it to the Denver Aquarium. Florida put new state line signs that welcome drivers to the free state of Florida. Japan is running surveys on their young people asking them why they're not getting married amid a population crisis in the country. The OceanGate co-founder said that he wants to dive to the portal to hell that sits in the Bahamas. Costco is now selling apocalypse buckets where you get 150 servings of food that will last for 25 years. 65,000 coffee mugs randomly went missing in a Tesla factory. A recent study published says that young adulthood is no longer the happiest time of a person's life. Another study published that you actually can't have too much money, and that billionaires are significantly happier than millionaires.
Let's talk
Wonder
about
why.
the cannibal that made a real-life snuff film. So on May 29, 2012, mysterious packages began arriving at various businesses around the Montreal area in Canada, including an elementary school. Each of the packages contained the severed and decomposing remains of a 34-year-old man named June Lin. Police were able to trace June's last known whereabouts to the apartment of 30-year-old Luka Magnotta. Now, Luka was a man who was so obsessed with getting famous that he was willing to do the most disgusting and vile acts imaginable just to get people talking about him, which included posting videos of himself online torturing and unaliving kittens. Police were able to determine that June had been unalived on May 24th, 5 days before his severed limbs were mailed to police, and using that information, they discovered something even more disturbing. On May 25th, the day after June was unalived, Luka actually uploaded a video to the website bestscore.com entitled One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. The video depicted June Lin tied to a bed completely naked, and Luka standing over him before stabbing him repeatedly in the chest and the neck with an ice pick. Afterwards, the video depicts Luka decapitating June and then cutting off his arms and his legs. From there, the video gets even worse, and it shows Luka using June's severed head and his severed arms to masturbate himself. After that, Luka is seen cutting chunks of flesh and meat away from June's buttocks and then feeding them to his dog and also attempting to eat them himself. Luka stated he did all this in an attempt to get famous and that he was not sorry at all for what he did, and he's currently serving life in prison.
So this is widely considered to be one of the most credible
Heinous.
paranormal experiences in U.S. history. For upwards of 88 different witnesses, independent witnesses, within a 72-hour period in this home, who claimed to experience some sort of phenomenon. The home was occupied by the Gooden family. Very normal, very suburban, husband and wife, and their 10-year-old daughter at the time, Marcia. What was interesting was that the occurrences in the house actually dated back to 1968, when the family heard scratching and unexplained knocking coming from inside their walls. In November of 1974, a crowd appeared in front of the home because there was something unexplainable going on inside. A collection of 5 different officers were called to the home, all of whom claimed to see appliances lift off the ground and levitate. People claimed to see the cat talk. People claimed that objects were flying off the walls, dishes were smashing on the floor. Even Ed and Lorraine Warren showed up to the home. Given all of the police reports and the records of this incident and how it has gone unexplained for so many years, what do you think really happened?
People you've never heard of. A boy named Gilbert in 1914 threw a tennis ball that got stuck way up in an archway of the Lincoln Cathedral. Nobody knew it was there until that same boy's nephew wrote a letter to the cathedral staff jokingly asking for it back 90 years later in 2005. Margaret from Kentucky became addicted to bee stings after using them to relieve her arthritis pain, eventually escalating to 15 stings a day and over 50,000 in total. This Malaysian man, nicknamed the Magnetic Man, had a seemingly magnetic body that attracted metallic objects. His sons and grandchildren also had this trait, which made him think it was hereditary. This other Malaysian man has the world's most powerful teeth, and this is him using those teeth to pull a 300-ton train over 10 feet. The Hawaiian singer Israel Kamakawiwo'ole's famous version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow was recorded in one take. He called a local studio in Hawaii at 3 in the morning and begged them to let him in because he said he needed to record something immediately.
This father who murdered his 2 teenage daughters because they started dating finally had his first interview in prison and denied everything and said it was all a conspiracy. I went over this case and his recent interview on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. On New Year's in 2008, 18-year-old Sarah Saeed used her last breath to call police and let them know that her dad had just shot her and she was dying. Beside her was her deceased older sister Amina, who was also shot by their father. But this didn't just happen out of nowhere. Growing up, these 2 girls endured a lot of abuse from their father. When they were 7 and 8 years old, they told their mother that their father was essaying them. But eventually nothing happened and the case got dropped. Things only got worse as they got older. Their father became more controlling and perverted. Their father would follow them and take videos of them everywhere they went, especially when they went to work. At one point, he took Amina to Egypt to try to marry her off to an older man, but luckily that didn't go through. But one day, he lost it when he found out that his daughters were dating and he threatened to take their lives. At this point, the girls were fed up, terrified, and decided to run away with their mother. But taking their mother with them wasn't the best decision because eventually Patricia wanted to go back to Yasser. She then promised Amina and Sarah that nothing would happen if they returned home, but that wasn't the case. The girls were convinced that their father was going to eventually take their lives, so they left a lot of evidence, including emails and letters to teachers about what was going on at home. When they went home, their father offered to take them out to talk and resolve things, but on January 1st, 2008, he shot them multiple times while they sat in the back of his taxi. Yasser fled for 12 years, but now that he's been in prison for 4 years, he still denies taking his daughter's lives. Throughout this recent interview, he gets frustrated and blames the FBI for pinning the murders on him and says that all the evidence against him isn't true.
Here's some fun facts you may have not wanted to know. But after this video, you'll know. So if you've heard somebody say honey never goes bad, it doesn't. Because there's not enough water in the honey for microorganisms to live on. So that honey you may have thrown away because it's been sitting in your cabinet for, 3 years? It was good. On to the next. Ants go to war. Similar to humans, and they actually have some crazy strategies. For example, they'll put the weak ones in the front to protect the strong ones in the back. This one is crazy. These conjoined twin sisters actually share a brain. But not only that, they can hear each other's thoughts and they can see out of each other's eyes. I've seen this one before and it's a no for me. I have stage fright. So this is called a public semi-transparent toilet. You cannot see in, but you can see out. No. On to the next.
No.
Sunflowers can clean up radioactive waste. Sunflowers are good at eating up pollutants, especially radioactive metal contaminants, and they store all the waste in their stems. In the Antarctic, there are no spiders. That is all. So when Ashton Kutcher was 13 years old, he tried to commit suicide by jumping off a hospital balcony, all because he wanted to save his brother and donate his heart. For all my duck-feeding people, don't feed them bread. It fills up their stomach and they end up getting no nutrients from the bread anyways. And the bread also causes malnourishment. So when lions get injured, they can have mane loss. So when a lion sees a male with a long mane, they avoid fighting with him because they think he is stronger at combat. That's all, folks.
I think the fact that got to me was that there's a bathroom where you can see outside but people can't see you. Would you guys be brave enough to use that one? That's a no for me. I can't do that, bro. Like she said, stage right. I'm good.
Some trees can actually grow inside of your lungs. In Russia, doctors performed surgery on a man named Artyom Sidorkin, suspecting that he had a cancerous tumor in his lungs. Instead of a tumor, though, they found a 5-centimeter fir tree branch inside of his lung. Doctors believe that Sidorkin accidentally swallowed a fir tree bud, which later grew into a branch. The probability of dying on your birthday is higher than any other day. There is actually a 14% chance of dying on your birthday than any other day. This is a shocking phenomenon called the birthday effect, which may be due to extra stress, drinking more, or people engaging in risky behaviors on their birthdays. A devil's chair exists in many cemeteries. In various cemeteries around the world, there are stone chairs called devil's chairs. These chairs were often used by mourners to sit and grieve, but legends and superstitions have given them a sinister reputation. Some stories claim that if you sit in one at midnight, the devil himself will appear. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York City than you are to be bitten by a shark. There could be someone secretly living in your wall or attic without you even knowing it. It's called frogging, and people say that it's becoming more and more common. So if you hear strange noises, notice things missing or moved, or your box of Frosted Flakes cereal is all of a sudden empty, there could be a frogger living in your home.
Check for froggers, bro.
You'll be glad you weren't around for. Part 1. The brazen bull execution was a method used in ancient Greece where a flame at the bottom roasted you to death, and the head of the bull was designed in such a way that your screams would be filtered and contorted into the sounds of a real bull. On pirate ships, workers who refused to follow orders would be hung by their nails. Another method used by pirates was called keel hauling, in which the men were dragged onto the ship until they died. And if this wasn't bad enough, the ship's hull was covered in barnacles so the man would be cut up as he drowned. Scaphism was an ancient Persian torture technique where criminals were stripped naked, tied to a boat, and then force-fed honey and milk until they got diarrhea, were covered in more honey, and set adrift in the ocean. This would then attract insects that would slowly but surely eat the men to death.
Dumbest ways people have died.
That's bad.
In 1880, the Queen of Thailand's boat capsized on the way to her palace, but despite many witnesses, nobody dared to save the drowning queen and her daughter. This was because touching the queen under any circumstances was a crime punishable by death. Bobby Leach was a world-renowned daredevil who became the second person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. A few years later, he died from a vicious infection after slipping on an orange peel. In 1996, a man named Michael Paul was on his way home from church when he decided to crack his neck just like any other time. But a few afterwards, he suddenly started sweating profusely and then went pale. By the time Michael was brought to a hospital, he had already slipped into a coma and died after 12 days of being on life support. An autopsy later revealed that the neck crack must have damaged one of the main arteries to his brain. and resulted in a fatal stroke.
The man who took this 22-year-old's life while she went on a jog was finally sentenced. Laken Riley went on a jog on the morning of February 22nd, 2024, when suddenly her friends noticed that her location was stuck on the same spot. Laken was a nursing student at the University of Georgia, and she had a specific route that she ran on campus that her friends knew about. But while on her jog, little did she know that this man was lurking around campus looking for his first victim. Jose Ibarra woke up very early, dressed in all black, and went to campus to try to find a woman to arm. He was even seen on surveillance walking around campus from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m. before he spotted Laken. When he saw Laken, it was said that he tried to take her clothes off and essay her, but she fought back, and that's why he took her life. While this was going on, Laken's roommates noticed that her location was stuck on a certain spot, so they went out to look for her. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find her, but they called police, and then they located Laken a few hours later. Beautiful Laken passed away from blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. However, Laken was able to put up a fight, and they found his DNA under her fingernails. This monster was charged, and as of today, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I traveled halfway
Always
around
be
the world
aware,
looking for the
man.
baby elephant. Everybody talking Mudang. Let me tell you about Jun. Jun is a registered threat to human welfare and the cutest thing I've ever had to run away from. This was in the Elephant Nature Park in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Home to elephants rescued and rehabilitated from places like elephant riding camps, logging companies, etc. Including 9-month-old wrecking ball on 4 legs, baby Jun. Jun be wanting to play. You got to tell her no, but she don't listen. You think I'm kidding, but imagine an 1,800-pound toddler trying to wrestle you without realizing you're basically a glass build to them. Don't tell me she didn't know what she was doing, because she kept acting cute in my face only to try to bum rush me from behind. She also ate my poncho. Like right off my chest, to be fair. Wearing green around multiple plus-size lawnmowers was a choice. And the crazy thing is, I'll let her do it again. She wasn't the only one I met. There were others, like this young lady, Gumpung. And when I say young, I'm talking 51 trips around the sun. Basically, this place is a retirement home for elephants that have been exploited by people. It's gotta be the most ethical elephant sanctuary on earth, because everything's on their time. Trying to go for a walk, but an elephant says snack time, then it's snack time. No further discussion. And if you get caught in the rain because an elephant chooses self-care, you're just gonna have to meditate on that. So yeah, I love this place. I love everything they stand for. And now here's the sad part. They actually flooded, like the worst one in a while for a place that's used to it. And yeah, elephants can swim, but a lot of them are disabled and some of them are blind, so yeah, it's been a struggle. And I'm sorry to kill the vibe, but 2 of them didn't make it. Alright, so the real reason for this, they need help. There's an emergency flood relief for the sanctuary, and they really need donations, so I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna put it there. I'm not being paid for this. They didn't ask me to do this, no sponsor, nothing. Just, they've helped a lot in the world, and right now they need that help back, so the more you know.
Hey man, that's freaking sad story, bro. Elephant freaking rescue sanctuary. That looks like an amazing place to actually go to too. You need to help them out, seekers. Looks like a place I want to go to one day. That's an edit, bro. We experts at this now. We can call them out. Any edits, y'all call them out with me, man.
Okay, now this has got people outraged. An extremely popular trans influencer was arrested yesterday, but she was placed in a male unit. She was arrested for battery of a police officer and disorderly conduct. But what's interesting is why the Miami Corrections Department chose to place her in a male cell, even when legally, as you can see from her license, she's female. See, sexual assault in US prisons got so bad that in 2012, the Prison Blank Elimination Act was passed. Now, in that legislation included new federal standards that each facility must decide housing assignments for trans inmates on a case-by-case basis. And while some states choose to ignore this and decide differently, as you can see, Florida's policy follows the federal standards. Authorities are asked to take into consideration the trans person's safety needs and if they would present management or security problems, and then assign them accordingly. In this case, for reasons that haven't been disclosed, they chose to place her in a male holding cell. So the question is, do you agree with their judgment or not?
Forbidden places that you can never visit. Number 1, Area 51 is a highly classified US Air Force facility that has been associated with UFOs, strange government cover-ups, and potentially testing alien technology. Although no one knows for sure what exactly goes on here, what we do know is that the facility itself is actually quite small. But the restricted area in total is about 90,000 acres of land. Next, Bhangarh Fort is said to be the most haunted place in India. According to legend, there was a beautiful princess named Ratnavati, and she lived in these forts. Many men wanted her hand in marriage, one of whom was a black magician named Singia. The princess, however, rejected Singia, and he laid a curse on the fort which haunts it till this day. There have been numerous stories of people who entered the fort at night and were never seen again. As a result, people have been banned from entering the fort at nights. Finally, the Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is said to be a secret group of very powerful people. It's alleged that many presidents and business leaders are part of this group. Every year they meet up in the woods and perform strange rituals, such as setting fire to a big owl statue. No one else is allowed to go in or take any photos. But a filmmaker named Ron Johnson once snuck a camera inside, and he presumably caught the world's most powerful men doing all of these strange things. For more,
these
caught
are
him
the
in
creepiest
4K.
unsolved photo mysteries. The Baltic Sea anomaly is known for being one of the most famous underwater mysteries on Earth. This sonar image from 2011 shows a large structure located at the bottom of the ocean. And if you're a Star Wars fan, it may look a little familiar to you. Many people believe that it could be a sunken UFO, or an ancient man-made structure that was lost to history. That, or Han Solo decided to move there and live his life in peace. Next, in 2016, a woman named Linda sent Belfast Live a disturbing photo that was taken from the year 1990. The photo shows a group of women in a factory with their arms crossed. One of these women was Linda's grandmother, Ellen Donnelly, and if you look closely at her shoulder, you can see a disembodied hand hovering over her. The photo quickly spread through the media, even making it to Snopes, where they were unable to debunk it. So always look over your shoulder. And finally, many people believe that the Madonna, or the White Lady, was caught on camera back in 1991 at the Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. On this night, Judy Huff Fells decided to take a stroll in one of the most haunted cemeteries in America, along with the local Ghost Research Society, when they felt an odd presence nearby. And when she took out her infrared camera and snapped a photo, she could see a woman sitting on a stone. And this is why you shouldn't wander around a cemetery at night.
I won't be.
I knew this day was coming, I just didn't know when. Let's talk about parrot tongues. Awful, isn't it? You know, if you unfollowed me, I wouldn't even blame you. It's on the tip of my tongue. What is a xenomorph? Satan's back scratcher? A plumbus? My eyes will never get over yourself, man. Human arrogance is the only reason you think this is weird. You got hands, 2 of them actually, I hope. Well, some don't. You know, some like the lorikeet, nature had to get creative. Green is not a creative cult. So lorikeets feed on nectar from flowers. Pretty hard to do that without fingers, so nature went ahead and put the fingers on their tongue, which helps them grab nectar, pollen, seeds, grain, and most importantly for analytics, your attention. Also, most parrots have a bone running through their tongue, which makes them even more of a forbidden finger that can grab and manipulate objects. Pause. Do I need to say pause? It's a parrot. It's also why parrots are the only animals that can mimic human speech and not have to pay taxes. What's up? I meant one of the only. Alright, my bad. You know, everyone's freaking out over the tongue. If you think that's bad, scroll. Scroll hard, scroll now. 3, 2, this is choanal papillae. It helps them with eating. It's actually a sign of a healthy bird, and it is the worst. Moral of this video, dinosaurs really had the wildest rebrand of all time. The more you wish you didn't know.
I never knew a parrot's tongue was like that. Learn new things every day, bro, watching these videos with you guys. So they have their fingers on their tongues. Interesting.
Beauty products used to look like torture devices. They used to use these to shield their skin from the sun before sunscreen was invented. These 1921 masks were meant to get rid of wrinkles. This mask was meant to give you a rosy complexion. Or my favorite, the warming mask for your face and skin. Terrifying.
This is all of the celebrity news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. Ariana Grande is now paying Dalton Gomez $1.2 million in a divorce settlement. The new Travis Scott tour tickets are reselling as low as $7 because literally nobody is buying them. Dwayne Johnson, obviously The Rock, just addressed the Maui Fund backlash and said he could have done better. A bunch of fans are now thinking that Drake was shading Rihanna in the new song Fear of Heights. I haven't heard it, so I don't know. Jaden Smith just disclosed that she and Will Smith have been separated for years. Elon Musk just saved Amber Heard's role in the upcoming Aquaman 2 movie. We already know the drama on this. It's Cardi B's birthday, so a happy birthday. IShowSpeed was just officially unbanned from Twitch. Bad Bunny will be releasing his new album this Friday for anybody that listens. Taylor Swift is now planning on making a surprise appearance at the Eras Tour film premiere. So if you haven't heard already, Taylor Swift movie The Tour is coming out soon. I post these daily news roundups every single day so you guys can get the news without having to watch it. So make sure you add me on the side of your screen so you can come back to me tomorrow. Also, I want to know which one of these was your favorite and which ones you actually care about. And go watch my other videos.
This
those played
girl
out.
that vanished into thin air. Her name is Yuki Onishi. On April 29th of 2005, 5-year-old Yuki was out celebrating Greenery Day with her mother. It's a national holiday in Japan, and what they do is they go out, they celebrate nature, and they collect bamboo shoots. So Yuki, her mom, and 60 other people were out doing this. Yuki was so excited that she found her first bamboo shoot, she showed her mother, and then she ran off to find more. That's when she disappeared and was never seen from again. When they realized that she was nowhere to be found, they actually brought in search dogs and the police. This is where it gets really strange. The dogs followed her scent to the middle of the forest and then just stopped. The scent stopped in the middle of the forest as if she had just disappeared into thin air from that spot. To this day, she has never been found and no one knows what happened. If you want to hear some theories, come back for part 2.
What happened? She just disappeared. That was a high quality edit. Or with AI mixed in it too. My eyes, bro. Like I said, I can start to freaking point them out, man. I think I'm at expert level. What level y'all at?
Hey bro, you know what's always fascinated me? The fact that if you're pretty and talented, you can get away with anything. Like y'all remember when Ariana dated this dude. People were like, no, hold up. Ain't bro married Ariana? Ariana said, what's the problem? They said, well, we not finna stand for this. Ariana said, well then do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, girl could sing though. And there it was. I think there was more to the story, but that's not the point. The point is, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie got away with this times 10 back in the day. Y'all remember this? See, back in the day, Brad Pitt was dating this girl named Jennifer Aniston, and this was a huge deal because celebrities back then were like massive compared to how they are now. He was like the king of movies, she was like the queen of TV. But then, he started doing this movie called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They said, damn, that's not Jennifer. They said, no, bro, it's just a movie. That's Angelina Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're kind of close though. The director said, that's because they're really good actors. They be getting locked in. I ain't even asked her to do this, and she started doing it. I said, well, what about this? The director said, that wasn't in the script. So rumors start flying around, but people ignore them because Brad was with Jennifer for like 7 years. Jennifer goes, look, my life is perfect. We think about having kids, like everything good. Brad goes, Jennifer, can we talk over here for a second? They come back. Jennifer goes, we getting a divorce. Now, they came out though and they said it was mutual, they both wanted it and all that. And well, a few months later, Jennifer comes out and says, yo, that's kind of weird. So they interview Angelina Jolie. The interviewer goes, damn. Angelina goes, appreciate you. What you need though, Shawty? The interviewer goes, how'd you like shooting Mr. and Mrs. Smith? She said, ooh, Lord, man, I could not wait to go to work. I couldn't wait to go. The interviewer goes, let me stop you right there. I think we got everything.
Mm-hmm.
Point people will still say, no, y'all, it's just the movie that they shot together. They came out and said, nah, we together. So they interviewed Jennifer. They go, girl, I'm so sorry. She goes, it's not a problem. We got a divorce. He can do whatever he wants. I said, damn, you must not have heard. She said, heard what? Somebody said, she ain't heard. She said, heard what? They said, Angelina did another interview. And here's where it starts to get wicked. See, Angelina did another interview where she said, yo, I love being single. At one point, I was seeing 2 dudes at the same time. She said, one of my little side pieces I met 3 years ago, we had dinner. She said, 3 years ago, listen closely, Angelina, was married. So I told him I don't want to do nothing. The interviewer said, now that's decent. She said, yeah, so anyway, I called him 3 years later and I said, hey bro, you want to be my lover? The interviewer said, I don't see nothing wrong with that girl. She said, yeah. Well, then we had to discuss how we was going to do it because we didn't want to hurt anybody. I always fall in love when I do a movie. Everybody started connecting the dots. They said, Mr. and Mr. Smith, you talking about Brad Pitt? Jennifer straight up comes out and says, what? Nah, that's not it. Everybody said, that's not it. Y'all tripping. And everybody watched the movie. They said, man, they're pretty good though. Everybody started saying stuff like that. And let's be real, they probably acted so hard that they just fell in love. Everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. Brad comes out and says, yeah, and really though, my last marriage was boring. Everybody said, what? I said, no, I didn't mean it like that. Shout out to Jennifer. Now, to be fair, Brad Pitt was talking about an art piece when he said this, and he's really interesting when it comes to art. Jennifer Aniston puts it perfectly. She said, Brad Pitt would never say that to hurt me. He just has a sensitivity chip missing. Which kind of reminds me of how Kanye West justified many things that hurt his marriage because they were art. Anyway, that's really it. Jennifer lived happily ever after. Brad and Angelina lived happily ever after. Wait, they got a divorce actually. But, I mean, I think they're happy.
If ghosts are not real, then how do you explain this?
Those are dogs, bro. You see through that? Man, those celebrity marriages, bro, they be insane. I can't be the only one who thinks that, right? Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Like I said, comment down below, hit that post notification bell, hit that thumbs up button. You guys are going to catch me in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.